Hey everyone, welcome in. We're diving into Bitcoin today, specifically how it might be changing the game for entrepreneurs, especially millennials. We're going deep on an article called How Bitcoin is Revolutionizing Entrepreneurship. And the big question is, can Bitcoin give us a way to kind of opt out of the system, the one that seems to be letting down so many millennials?
Yeah, the article really lays out the financial stress a lot of millennials feel these days.
Totally. It's like trying to buy a house when the prices keep going up, you know? Wages are stuck, your savings get smaller because of inflation. No wonder people want something different.
And that's where Bitcoin comes in,
Hmm.
right? The article really highlights how appealing it is that it's decentralized. Like it's not controlled by some government or bank, which
Hmm.
millennials are kind of over those.
Yeah, when I was reading that, it really resonated. Like, what if we just made something new? That actually worked?
Right, a system that's actually built to benefit the people using it.
Exactly. And that's where the whole limited supply thing is important. Only 21 million Bitcoins ever. That's it. Not like the US dollar governments can just print more whenever. But Bitcoin, this article even said it, a new way to preserve their economic energy long term. Like maybe there's actually a way to get ahead instead of just surviving.
Yeah, totally. But we got to be real about the risks too.
You mean how much the price jumps around, right? The volatility?
Exactly. It can be a wild ride, especially compared to like the dollar in the short term at least. So higher potential, but also higher risk.
So it's a balance, trying to figure that out. More control, maybe more stability in the long run, but uncertainty in the short term.
Exactly. And this is where getting what decentralization really means is super important.
Yeah, beyond just being a buzzword, for someone starting a business, what does it actually do for them?
Imagine, you don't have to worry about the bank taking huge fees or a government suddenly making your money worth less. That's the power of this. The article even talked about El Salvador. They made Bitcoin an official currency. Shows you how this could change everything.
Whoa, El Salvador actually did that. Seriously, that's a big deal. I didn't even realize.
It's a real-world example of this tech shaking things up. And for entrepreneurs, especially online or global businesses, it opens up so much. Lower fees, faster payments. You can work with anyone, anywhere. You're not stuck with the old systems
It's
anymore.
like it levels the playing field, you know? Gives more people a chance.
Absolutely. The article mentioned a Bitcoin conference in Spain, people from all over Europe there. It's becoming a global movement.
This is bigger than just one country or generation then, huh? It's changing how we think about money
Oh.
completely. But the article made a point about Bitcoin being different from other cryptocurrencies. Even said some have questionable motives. Kind of worrying.
Yeah, it's like you can't just lump them all together.
Right.
No way, no way. Bitcoin was designed for something specific, to be sound money. It's about scarcity, security, being decentralized, that whole package.
Okay, but what does sound money even mean? Sounds like econ class jargon.
Uh-huh, kinda.
Ah,
But it's simple when you think about it.
yeah.
Sound money holds its value over time, right? Governments can't mess with it. Institutions can't inflate it away. That makes it reliable, especially compared to, like, currencies that lose value all the time.
So the opposite of what we said before, governments printing more and your savings being worth less.
Exactly. A lot of other cryptos, they might look similar technically, but they're missing that core purpose. Some are just speculation, hype to make a quick buck, and some, honestly, are straight-up scams. Gotta watch out.
So that makes the article saying to educate yourself even more important.
Absolutely. This deep dive is just the beginning, you know? The more you actually understand this tech, the better choices you can make.
Like, how do you even start learning? It's a lot. They mentioned Swan Bitcoin as a resource.
Yeah, Swan's good. They're really focused on Bitcoin, good educational stuff. But there's tons out there. Just got to be picky, do your research, and don't be afraid to ask questions, you know?
It is kind of like learning a new language almost, haha.
Totally. And just like a language, the more you're immersed, the easier it gets.
So we talked about this being good for people, but the article mentioned businesses using Bitcoin too. It's not just some idea anymore, huh?
Oh, for sure. More and more businesses are fitting it into how they work, like another tool in the toolbox, you know?
What are some examples? How are they actually using it?
Well, if you do business globally, Bitcoin streamlines payments across borders. Way lower fees usually. Faster than banks, too.
Yeah, that makes sense. International transfers are a pain.
Exactly. And since it's faster, more transparent, your cash flow is better, less uncertainty.
Okay, so faster, cheaper, more transparent.
Yeah.
What else?
Some use it as a hedge against inflation, especially in shakier economies. Holding Bitcoin can protect their money from losing value.
So it gives them options, especially if the traditional system is not working for them.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Especially smaller businesses, startups, they don't always have the same advantages.
Ties back into that decentralization thing, of taking control, making your own opportunities.
For sure. And that entrepreneurial spirit, that's driving so much of the cool stuff happening with Bitcoin.
Which gets us back to that first big question. Can this really be the way out for millennials? Like, if they feel stuck with the old ways of building wealth, can Bitcoin change that? That's a big question. Like, can it really do that?
It is, yeah.
Doesn't seem like there's an easy answer.
Right, it's not like magic solution or anything. Bitcoin won't just make you rich automatically. But it does change the rules of the game, how we think about value, building wealth, that whole thing.
So, more about potential than promises.
I think that's a good way to put it. The potential is definitely there. But people got to educate themselves, can't just jump in blindly. Understand the risks, A&D, the rewards, both sides, and figure out, does Bitcoin even fit their goals, their own values?
The article is big on that whole self-education thing.
It's crucial. We're talking about basically changing how money works,
Mm-hmm.
not something you just mess around with, If you're serious about Bitcoin for yourself, your business, you got to be ready to learn, really understand it.
It's like learning a new skill, right? You don't become a chef overnight. Got to study, practice, and you'll make mistakes along the way. It's part of it.
Perfect analogy. Any new skill is going to be tough sometimes. That's how you grow. But then it's so rewarding when you get good at it.
So for our listener, maybe they're intrigued, right? Curious what Bitcoin could do for them if they want to start something new. What's the most important thing to keep in mind?
Don't be scared to dive in, but do it smart. Start with learning, find good sources, don't rush it. This is a long game, not a get-rich-quick scheme.
And hey, remember, this was just a taste, our deep dive here. The real exploration starts now for all of us. What other questions came up for you? What else about Bitcoin makes you curious?
That's what we want to leave you with, that curiosity, that drive to keep learning, keep digging deeper. Because the future belongs to those who embrace what's new, you know? Challenge the old ways, make your own path.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That wraps up this deep dive. Bitcoin and entrepreneurship, the whole deal. Hope you got a lot out of it, but even more importantly, hope it sparks something that you want to keep learning about this world. Till next time, happy learning, everyone.